What's going on, fam? Welcome back to the channel. This is another Adidas CrazyFast review. This time it is the 0.1 model, the regular one with laces. I know it's very confusing. You've got the plus, you've got the 0.1 laceless, and then you've got the 0.1 regular with laces. That's this one. Let's hop into the unboxing to show you guys what is new about this one compared to last generation. Recycled material box, which is very standard for some anything that's not the plus model from Adidas gets this box, which is just the gray with the Adidas 3 stripes, made in part with recycled materials. Adidas is going down to, and I believe the top end, I'm not sure about the takedown models, but the top end boots from Adidas are now made with 50% recycled materials, which is pretty sick. So very cool what they're doing there. Adidas logo in the bottom corner there. Very simple box. The materials we use, the way we make, we're innovating to help protect our future. This is just the beginning. And then here you go, X CrazyFast.1 in firm ground. This is a US 9, a UK 8.5, 42 2/3, and a 27.0. So that's the sizing for this Adidas. And here we go. This is, of course, in the green, the electric green, or lime green, whatever you want to call it. Let me know down in the comments what you actually think this is called. And into the white. So here we go. Oh man, yes. So I don't know which one is going to come out before, but I've already technically done the review. I believe the laceless model is going to actually come out before this one, the laceless one, and then I'll do this one, and then the plus model. Obviously, you guys have seen the special edition plus model, which is the same. But I now have all three top-end speed boots in this same colorway, and the reason I did that was because I wanted to do a full comparison video between all three of them, because with the same color, it's going to look dope for a video, first of all, but second of all, I just think that having a comparison between these three boots, giving you guys an idea of what all three of these look like and what the differences are, will be helpful for your buying options and get you guys whatever one you are interested in purchasing if you're in the market for an Adidas speed boot. Now, this is a very similar construction to the laceless version, except for obviously a few things. Obviously the lacing system in there, and then you've got a little bit less structure through this area, especially with this big seam that runs between this knit material and the Aeropacity speed skin upper, basically, that runs all the way from this heel all the way around to the other side. So let's just start there with this upper. So as I mentioned before, this boot is made with at least 50% recycled materials, which is pretty cool. This particular model, this particular version of the CrazyFast, the 0.1, runs between 180 to 190 grams, depending on what size you get. In a size 9, my guess is these are going to be 184, 185, because they're sort of right in the middle, a very average size for sort of the range of sizes, I guess, which is equates to about 6.5 ounces. So decently lightweight. For the most part, I tend to not really focus that much on weight unless they're dumb light, like the CrazyFast Plus, or they're really, really heavy, like a Predator or something. Then you can kind of feel the difference between those two, especially when it's on feet. But I would say for the most part, between the three Adidas speed boots at least, and frankly most of the speed boots on the market right now, you're really not going to notice a difference between them when they're on feet and when you're playing in a game. It's not going to be something where you're thinking to yourself, oh my god, I just wish I had that extra 5 grams less on my feet. No, that's not how that works. So anyway, so that's for the weight. This is the Aeropacity Speed Skin upper. It is slightly different from the Plus model, but it is the same Aeropacity Speed Skin as the 0.1 laceless. I'm going to get all these names mixed up, but hopefully I can, with practice, get this right. So it is a textile-based upper. You can see some of the indentations, or I guess the textile-based hashes on the upper. It's a really soft upper. It's much less plasticky and sort of low quality and not very soft feeling compared to last generation Speedportal 0.1. Speedportal 0.1 was one of my least favorite boots I've ever had on my feet. I thought that boot was a piece of crap, honestly. And especially when you compare it to the previous generation, Speedflow 0.1, those were excellent. This definitely takes a step above those, at least from an in-hand perspective. So I'm really excited to see how these boots feel compared to the Speedportal 0.1, which, as you guys know, I wore for the review and then got rid of immediately because I was like, there's no way I'm wearing these any more than the review because they were destroying my feet. This, on the other hand, has a really nice, or I would say a softer upper. It's still a little bit plasticky, but much more barefoot, first of all, because there doesn't feel like there's a thick film that makes it really solid over the top of this Aeropacity Speed Skin. And also there's a lot more, at least it feels like there's going to be a lot more adjustability, especially with this lacing system cover. So this is a little bit of prime knit here through the lacing system area. Obviously with the Plus model, you get the regular U-throat tongue, and then with the 0.1 laceless model, you get obviously no laces, and then you get a much, what feels like a much more structured prime knit material there, with a very similar prime knit kind of little collar that runs all the way around, which hopefully will just make the boot feel like it's sitting flush with your ankle, which is really nice. You've got the supportive aero cage on the inside, which hopefully I can show you right there. There you go. So running along the outside, you can see where my finger is with the shadow. So that is an internal suede, like a suede-like cage that's on the inside. You see very similar things in the Vapor, for one, I think is the best example of this. And then of course the other Adidas speed boots in this lineup also have that same cage. The Plus model obviously has the most sort of lightweight version of that, but this is the aero cage that allows this upper to be super, super thin, but also give you a little bit of stability and lockdown, which is great. And then you also have the speed frame, which is the yellow or the Volt or the lime green, whatever you call it. You can debate it down in the comments section below. So that's the speed frame. And then this inside part with this golf ball texture is the aero plate. So the aero plate is what replaced the carbon fiber with the Carbitex insert and that stuff. And so once this aero plate got in, it added, I would say, you know, obviously it's probably much cheaper to produce, but to be fair, it still is pretty snappy. This is still one of the most responsive sole plates on the market. It's a sole plate that I really enjoy. With the 99-gram leather football boot, the speed frame still has that Carbitex insert in it, but it basically feels the same underfoot. Most people aren't going to be able to tell the difference between this aero plate and the Carbitex insert, which I think is great. So from that standpoint, switching over, yes, it doesn't look cool. It doesn't look like a carbon fiber sole plate because it's not, and it doesn't have that wow factor to it, but this still is going to be responsive enough for most people to never notice the difference. As far as colorway goes, I think this construction with the black 3 stripes on both sides with this kind of ombre green up into white, I think these look really sensational. They remind me a lot, with this Crazy Fast logo too, which is cool. They remind me a lot of 2 different pairs of football boots that had a similar colorway. One was the leather F50 Audi Zero back in like 2012 or 13, the all white leather ones with those, it was kind of this like Volt color along the stripes. And then the second pair is actually a pair of Hypervenom Phantom 3. I have an AG and an FG pair that are sort of in this colorway. They were for the, I think the Euros one year. It was an all white one with a, like the Volt yellow swoosh. So this is kind of that similar colorway with the white, the black accents and the Volt yellow, or this lime green colorway, and I think they look absolutely fantastic. So let me know down in the comments what you guys think of the laced model of the 0.1 versus the laceless 0.1. Both seem to be very similar in construction, and I'm really excited to test both of them out because, full disclosure, I did the on-feet portion of the laceless 0.1 today. I'm filming at nighttime right now. It was this morning, and they feel much better than the old model. And because this is the same construction but with laces, I am hoping that in comparison to previous generation where this midfoot absolutely destroyed my foot in the Speedportal, that's why I hated them so much and I just thought they were plasticky and gross. I'm hoping with this new Aeropacity speed skin upper that it really is able to stretch at least a little bit in the width areas, which I actually have found to be true on the Plus model. So I'm crossing my fingers to say that, hey, even though this is a little bit of a thicker material compared to that one, we're talking like fractions of a millimeter. I still think this might be a really good option for a lot of people, and I am really excited because, as you guys know from a lace versus laceless construction, I am more of a fan of lace boots, boots with laces in them, because they provide, in my opinion, the best lockdown and the best adjustability during training sessions and games when you need them to, and so that's awesome. So let's just hop straight into, oh, we gotta unbox the other shoe. Well, what am I doing? We've sat here the entire time, and this right boot has gotten absolutely no love. There you go. There's that right boot. Get a little bit of showtime there. It's the same, go figure. But very, very cool pair of football boots, and really excited to get these on feet and try them and see what this feels like and get a sense of, you know, maybe how they compare a little bit, at least right away, to the I did it again. The 0.1 laceless model. So I'll give you guys a good idea of what these feel like in comparison to those, because I've already tried on the 0.1 laceless model. I almost did it again. And we'll go from there from that, and then of course maybe give you an idea based on, now that I've actually had on feet all three models, which one feels the best, which one maybe I would recommend to you. I'm gonna imagine they're gonna feel pretty similar, but that remains to be seen. Let's hop into the on feet portion of the video. All right, fam, out here at the pitch with the beautiful, beautiful X CrazyFast.1 with the laces. These are a boot that I don't have super high expectations of because of the way that Speedportal 0.1 felt, but I did want to try them, see if they were even worth trying to break in, because as you know, the Speedportal 0.1, I was like, absolutely not. I cannot even bother to get those for longer than just the review. But without further ado, let's just hop into the on feet portion. So these boots are very, very nice looking. I think regardless of whether they fit or not, for me, these are a super nice looking pair of football boots. I love this colorway. I think the green ombre into the white looks super nice. And I just think the silo, especially with the 3 stripes and stuff, I just think the silo looks really cool. So that's just my own personal opinion. Let me know down in the comment section below what you guys think of this new CrazyFast 0.1, and we'll get straight into the on feet. So here we go. I assume that this is going to fit pretty similarly to the laceless model, although I imagine that the laceless model is going to be more comfortable straight out of the box. Here we go. Okay, so definitely not what I like in football boots straight out of the box. There's definitely a little bit already of like build up here and pinching on that side, some pinching on the outside, but I will say it is an improvement on the previous generation. It's definitely not a Speedflow. That's for sure. This is not as comfortable as a Speedflow. It's not going to be as nice around your foot as well, but it's definitely more comfortable than the Speedportal 0.1, and that I appreciate from Adidas. This upper also just objectively feels a lot better than the Speedportal. That's sizing, so I do have a little bit of extra space in the toe area, which I'm not a huge fan of. That's actually like quite a bit of toe space. My toe goes right up, and then the rest of my big toe kind of goes right up to the front, and then there's definitely like a little bit of dead space here. I think there's just like it's like a weird shape to where the toe box is a little voluminous, which is kind of weird. But let's see how they feel as I start to wear them in this short portion of the review. So getting the other one on here. And yeah, I mean, to be honest, they're not that uncomfortable. I don't think they're a boot that I'm going to be wearing mainstay. I probably won't do a ton of break-in with these unless I just decide to full send the shoe stretcher, which I'll put a link below so you guys can check one of those out. It's what I use actually for a lot of my 1-month reviews in order to break in boots a lot faster. And that has been super helpful for me. So there you go. So again, there's your toe sizing. So sizing on the toe is pretty close to the end, and then there's that weird kind of bulbous area right on the toe there. What's up? Oh, okay. No, I'm doing a boot review. All right, so there you go on feet. I appreciate the patience with the little interruption. So there you go. So these are definitely more comfortable, I think, than the previous generation. Like, no doubt in my mind. This Aeropacity Speed Skin upper does a nice job of wrapping your foot. As you can see, it's a little tight here on the outside. I'm kind of pushing that upper as much as it'll go. One of the things that I do notice, though, about this football boot that's different from the laceless, this seam right here where the laces kind of tie in, this seam is so much less stiff and noticeable than the one on the laceless model. My guess is that's because this knit material they've made more structured on on the laceless model, and then they've changed it just ever so slightly to be with the laces on it, so it's not as crazy stiff. But yeah, so that's one thing that I think is a positive. As far as shape goes, they are very, very similar to that laceless model. They're a little bit thinner, like just a little bit. That might be because they have laces in them, so they're built to be a little more streamlined. But I do think this boot actually will break in a little bit over time, which is kind of cool. Again, there's that weird, like, see how that, look at that little dent, like right in the toe box. Look at that. That's crazy. And my toes go right up to the end, and then all of a sudden there's this little like bulbous area, which is weird. So the boot, as opposed to say something like a GX or the new Tiempo or something, those go really, really low down to the ground. And so there's no, like, my toes are totally flush basically. But with this one, because of that little bulbous area, it allows you to kind of wiggle your toes a little bit. I don't know if that'll be a positive or negative moving forward, but that's just what it is, I guess. Here's a look of what they are on feet. Very, very cool looking. Again, I like this silo. I think it looks really nice, especially on the feet of a lot of pro players, and one or two of my teammates wear these as well. They are really thin. They are really snug. They're definitely a big update. I would say if you're somebody who likes a softer style speed boot, this is not the one to go for. My guess is these will break in a little bit, but they're not going to be anything like a knit speed boot, which is something you'd get from a Furon, or even a Vapor is going to be more knit-like, even though it is technically like a synthetic. It's Vapoposit upper, which is actually more similar to this than a knit, but it is softer. And so I don't know, it's kind of similar construction to this, but if you're somebody who wants like softness straight out of the box, I would definitely go for a Furon. Those are fantastic straight out of the box, way more comfortable than these, at least for my foot shape, and they're also fully knit, which is awesome. So, but no, these are great. I think honestly, this is such a big improvement. Even though it's the construction isn't all that different, the heel feels about the same than the 0.1, because as you remember from the Speedportal 0.1, the heel liner didn't have those little kind of dots on them, those sticky dots on them. It was just a plain suede on the heel liner, and so for me, these feel almost identical in the heel area. There's a little less volume, which is nice, maybe just by a little bit. At least that's what it feels like. And then from the upper standpoint, much, much better. Sole plate is obviously the exact same, so there's nothing really to report other than to say and reiterate that this sole plate is probably one of the most responsive and most like keeps you up on your toes. As you can see just from me standing here, the sole plate like lifts up quite a bit compared to a lot of other sole plates, and so it keeps you basically like up on your toes like that for the most part. Touch on the ball really quick is going to probably be very, oh god, look at that. The toe is so pointed that it has such an interesting like kickback effect. Oh Jesus. Okay, let's start that one over. There you go. Nice, thin, definitely very much more traditional speed boot style. They're nice. I wouldn't say, I don't think I'm gonna rate them that highly just because they don't quite fit my foot well enough. I am gonna try to break them in a little bit, see if I can stretch them out and see if that midfoot will kind of break in a little bit more so that I get a chance to really get into them and see how they feel on more of a normal basis. Straight out of the box, that lift in the toe is a little obnoxious, I gotta admit. It's just like, it's so aggressive going forward. I haven't had that in any of the other boots with this sole plate before, which is kind of crazy. I don't know whether it's just this particular model or what, but that toe lift is bananas, and that is not something that I tend to prefer. I tend to prefer more boots geared kind of like the GX that are really streamlined and really flat. Something like the new Tiempo 10, streamlined, super flat, and the toe just goes straight down to the ground. The new Tequila does that as well. I guess it's not new, but the low top Tequila version 4, they go kind of down. There's no like lift in the sole plate. The only one that I think does have a lift in the sole plate that I do really enjoy, other than the 99 gram, which yes, is the same sole plate technically, but it feels a little bit more neutral, is the Asics DS Lite X55. And that one is more flexible, and so I don't feel hindered by the fact, and it's leather, so it's a little bit different of a structure. It's not as like kind of put together, if you will. But again, overall thoughts, if you did like the Speedportal, I think you're going to absolutely love the new CrazyFast.1. I genuinely think that if you were somebody who really enjoyed those Speedportal .1s and you were like, they fit me perfectly, these will blow your mind, I think. Because I think the upper of this is way better. It's way softer, or not way softer, but it's definitely thinner and more barefoot feeling, which is awesome. And so for me, this is a good shout for speed boots. I think Adidas did a nice job with these. Straight out of the box, now that I've tried all three, I prefer the Plus model first for sure, like way more than any of the other ones. The laceless model second, and then these are my least favorite. So that's the way I'm gonna rate them. Yes, that is also the way that they come price-wise. Like price-wise, that's how they rank as well. Price doesn't really matter to me. For me, it's about what they feel like and what they fit like. I just tend to prefer the way that Plus model is constructed with the U-throat tongue is really nice, and the upper is just a little bit thinner and softer, so it allows my midfoot, which again, I've got a wide midfoot area, and so it allows me to stretch into them a little bit more. The Plus model, similar to last generation, just allows a little bit more wiggle room. These definitely feel like they're gonna give me a little bit more wiggle room, but it is gonna take some time. So I'll do my best to break these in over the course of the next month or two, and we'll get to a 1 month review eventually. Cross my fingers, hopefully they break in enough. But if they don't, then we'll sort it out. So I appreciate you guys watching. Thank you so much for being here. If you got to the end of the video, hit that like button. If you got value from it, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I have set up a Patreon for those of you who are interested in supporting what I do here on the channel. You guys get access to pre-release thumbnails and video topics and ideas, and you guys can give me suggestions as well for videos that I'm much more sort of in tune with the Patreon and those that are on the Patreon account. So those guys get proper suggestion polls, basically, where they can say, hey, we want this boot, and I'm like, okay, I gotcha, I'll get it in a couple weeks. So that's very, very cool. I'll leave a link down below in the description box, and as well as to the shoe stretcher, which I know is a random one, but I'll leave that link below as well, because those will be probably pretty helpful in breaking these boots in from my foot side. So I appreciate you guys being here. As always, be awesome, take care. I'll see you guys in the next video.